Welcome everybody, welcome to today's Lammas, and indeed if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, Imbolc readings. Now both of these earth festivals are festivals of fertility. So we are today going to be asking about the blessing that this energy is bringing you. Now it could be, for some of you, the blessing of a harvest. For others, it could be the blessing of something yet to come. For others, it could be a mixture of both. We won't know. We never know until we actually dive in and do the readings. And we are very, very blessed today to have the energy and different qualities of three amazing trees which gifted themselves really readily this morning when I was preparing to do these readings. Now, if you are watching these readings as I upload them, then you're probably very much in alignment with this turning point in the Earth's calendar. But these are, in essence, timeless readings. If you come to these readings, if you're drawn to them at a completely different time, then trust that there is a message for you. I actually watched a reading the other day that had a reference to the equinox, and at the time of coming to that reading we were nowhere close to it, but the reading was spot on. So just trust, if you are drawn to the readings, that they are right for you. Now, beautiful souls, firstly, welcome back. If you are returning, if you're already a Moon Magic Super Soul, welcome back. If you are brand new, welcome. It is a real honour and a pleasure to be reading for you, particularly at a time of such profound upgrade to humanity at large. I have a funny feeling these readings are really going to bring some very, very, very powerful and dynamic messages. But, of course, we do not know. Now, let me show you the cards for the three piles. The timestamps are below in the description box, and I always put them in a comment as well, so you can find the reading you're drawn to. And I also put, I will ask the universe, so there's an extra little bit in the video where I ask the universe to choose a pile or piles for you. And I also list all the cards and things that I'm using, so if there's any that you really, really like or are drawn to and want to use yourselves, you'll be able to find them easily. So, let's look at pile one. Now, pile one, your card is Sisters of the Spring Swallow, Good Fortune Granted. Wow. Now, there is a card that is connected to fertility. Wow. So that's pile one. And pile one is sitting with the tamarix tree. Now, this particular tamarix tree sits in my garden. And my garden, or my house, happens to sit on an energy centre. There are various places in my house where magnetic north does not exist, a compass doesn't work. And this tree is, she's the guardian of that spot. It's quite extraordinary. There are two trees. One holds a masculine energy, and this is the one that holds the feminine energy. It's really interesting. But anyway, I'll not waffle too much about that. But the history of this tree is that Abraham planted a tamarix tree and made a commitment to his everlasting God. So this tree connects to promise, like a divine promise, very often to a commitment of some sort. Could even be that a promise comes to fertility, I don't know. We'll see what happens in the reading. But this is the energy of this particular tree, and we'll see how that flows into our reading. Now for pile two, you have Grandmother of Love, Granddaughter of Life. Now this is really interesting because this is a beautiful card, a beautiful energy, and this pile is sitting with the oak. And oak trees actually speak about, well, they speak about lots of things, but they have a massive sort of resonance in history, particularly here in the UK, but I'm sure that the resonance of them is elsewhere across the world as well. But the energy and essence of oak is about longevity. It's like planting an acorn. And you think that, within that acorn, there is the potential of an oak tree. So it's kind of very connected to what we're doing in the present moment and how that will grow into the future, potentially for future generations yet to come. Now, I think it's really interesting that I had gathered these trees this morning in my preparations. I had no idea which cards I was going to use. I always prepare for my readings. And fascinating that this is the card that came out for pile two. Grandmother of Love, Granddaughter of Life. So very resonant with the oak. Now for pile 3, you have, she rides with wild spirit unbroken. Mind-blowing energy. She rides with wild spirit unbroken. This is the card for pile 3. And this is sitting with a little piece of a pine tree. Again, these are all from my garden. And pines are connected to the north position of the medicine wheel, and they are wisdom keepers. They hold memory. They hold understanding. It's very interesting. She rides with wild spirit unbroken. So, and what we do see is there's a lot of white energy in this card, which makes me think about the north and the, just the very essence and energy of this tree. So wisdom keepers, holding memory, ancestors, ancestral knowledge. These are the kind of connections that arise with the energy and essence of this beautiful tree. I feel that we have been very graced and very blessed, actually. I'm really honoured that they spoke this morning and called out to come here and be part of our readings. So, beautiful souls, I will leave the video running for a few moments in case you need a little bit longer, just to tune in with the essence and energy of the cards of the trees. And then I'm going to ask the universe. That'll be in a separate timestamp, and then I will move into the readings. Beautiful souls, it's an honour to be connected with all of you at this very, very, very special time. Welcome everybody to the part of the video where we ask the universe which pile or piles are recommended. This is the homepage of my website. You can check in here at any time if you want to either ask the universe to help you to find a pile or find a reading. Piles 1 and 2 are recommended today. Beautiful souls, I will see you in the readings in just a moment. Pile 1, welcome to your reading. You have Sisters of the Spring Swallow, good fortune granted. This card has an incredibly forward motion energy about it. It literally does speak about harvest. So in terms of the energy of Lammas, this is really in alignment with something coming into you. And if we think also of the energy of Imbolc, we are talking about sowing seeds that will come to fruition. Now, the very first thing I'm going to do is draw some runes for you. You have the energy of defense. This is Awaz, but followed by harvest. Wow. Followed by Rado, the journey. This is journey rune of journeying. And then you have Othilla, separation. Now, this is a very, very interesting energy. Okay, something I think is coming to fruition and completion. There's a completion point around you, and it is a great, great blessing that this is coming. Something's completing, and something comes to you because of it, like a harvest. Now, Othilla is a rune of both separation and inheritance. It kind of means that you acquire something from the completion, or indeed sometimes the loss of something. But something is to be completed. For some of you, this could be something that involved a commitment or a promise that you made. You know, Abraham made a pact. He made a divine promise to God. It's like something is up. For some of you, karmically, we're about to enter eclipse season. At the time of doing this reading, I almost want to say what isn't happening astrologically. It's mind-blowing. The energy is just mind-blowing. Many karmic contracts are going to be closing, completing at this time. It's like many people have come here to do something. For some people, they'll be entering a new phase. It may even be the culmination of why they came here. But I think something for you is completing. The harvest comes in. Do you know, it reminds me of something that my lovely, lovely sister Jocelyn said once to me. I think she was doing a reading for me, an astrological reading. In fact, actually, for anyone who is interested in astrological readings, she is mind-blowingly amazing. And I do believe she does still, I mean, at times she's chock-a-block and she can't do personal readings. But she opens her books from time to time. If you're interested in having an astrological reading, I highly recommend her. And I will put a link to her website below. But I remember her saying, we were talking about Pluto. I had a Pluto transit, and they go on for years because Pluto is such one of the outer planets. In fact, Pluto is very present in the astrology at the moment. And she said, the wonderful thing about Pluto, however challenging it might be, because we dig deep, we dig really deep. It's like stuff is brought up from the shadows. And she said, there's always a pot of gold at the end of a Pluto transit. And that's the energy I'm seeing here. It's almost like a rebirth. There's a pot of gold coming to you, literally, whether that's literal or metaphorical, energetic or whatever it might be. I'm not sure what this is. We haven't even started drawing your cards. These readings are already blowing me away, or your reading is blowing me away. But I think that a pot of gold or something, look at this beautiful basket of fertility, of amazing food, abundance. Something is coming to you. There's a pot of gold at the end of a period where you have fulfilled some form of commitment, some form of contract. I say contract in inverted commas, but sometimes we make arrangements with ourselves as well. Like when we're children, we reach a point, we come to a conclusion. A bit like, it's a bit like, let's say when you were little and let's say if your parents divorced, and as a child you saw a great deal of disruption and unhappiness, and you made a contract with yourself that you would never ever ever cause any disruption, because you wouldn't want to be responsible for that level of unhappiness. And from henceforth you've lived a life where you've never fully expressed yourself, because you don't feel you can rock the boat or do something. There's some form of defense mechanism that you've embodied that was part of a promise. This is a message for some, not all, but a contract. But it's completed. It's completing. And you are now able to set forth on the next chapter of your life in that space of, the pot of gold that comes after this period of massive, massive transformation. But the transformation has come because you did the work. So for some of you, literally, a contract, an agreement has completed. What it means is you can make a new contract with yourself. But there is a gain. There is a gain coming here, like an inheritance. It literally is that pot of gold. I almost want to say at the end of the rainbow. This is the card that really wants to show through from this deck for you. You have Priest. Wow. Okay. Light attributes. Facilitates spiritual commitments. Wow. Serves as a channel of spiritual energy. Shadow attributes. Violates the trust of your spiritual community. Seduced by your own spiritual role. Okay. Isn't that interesting? Commitment. I think a commitment shifts, changes. You may even be in that space where you have literally completed something and you have realigned in a different way with your pathway is changing. What else do we have here? Let's draw more cards before I say any more. Oh my goodness me, look at the sacred geometry, the personality triangle, personality, nature, mindfulness. Now, the planets that are showing up here are Mercury and Venus and the Moon. For some of you, this is a commitment that was, or the transformation comes through a completion of something within your family or your community. You could even have completed, I don't know, maybe a group, something you've been running or organising or a part of. But something that you were heavily committed to, I think, has completed. And as I said, it could even be that commitment that you made an arrangement with yourself. You have grief. You have gratitude. This is really rather lovely. It does, this shows us an ending. But so much to be grateful for in terms of what you, I feel like you can put your hand, literally your hand on your heart and know that you fulfilled something. You did your best. You did everything that you possibly could. There's a very big validation here, connected again to maybe a situation that involved community, family, for some of you siblings with Mercury energy, partners. I feel something concludes, but there is this harvest. Wow, this is a very, very, very big blessing because you can now journey forwards. It's like on a different trajectory, on a different pathway. Let's just have, let's draw your tarot cards. Let's see what we are shown for you on your tarot cards. So the big blessing is actually a completion of something. But, my goodness me, there's going to be a pot of gold. So, of course, that's the second blessing. The second blessing is the pot of gold. And much deserved. Much deserved. Pile 1. You have the star. Oh, this is just heavenly. Yeah, look at this. Beautiful energy. You have the star and you have the moon. I feel like you've been to the depths and back. You've got the 3 of Cups. You've got the 4 of Cups. You have the 3 of Swords. You have the 5 of Swords. Interesting, it did come out in reverse. I don't generally read cards in reverse, but you know, today I'm going to. We have the 9 of Swords. It's interesting that they're the only 2 cards that have come out in reverse. Let me move these along, because I think we have room for our last card here. Yeah, we do. The Chariot. Fantastic. I am just going to leave those. I don't generally use reverse cards. I feel I get all the information I need anyway. But I think for me it's quite striking because these 2 cards are cards that bring a slightly more challenging energy. You know, the 5 of Swords can suggest unfairness. The 9 of Swords is a card, it can be a bit like the Dark Night of the Soul. Bang in the middle we have the 3, which connects to grief. Now, the 3 of Swords is, all the 3s are a turning point. And what I'm seeing here, you have another 3 here, the 3 of Cups, which is a card of celebration and community, family. This is a card that indicates that something that was really challenging for you is now over. And it's like it's now time for the grieving process to properly happen so that you can move forwards. You know, you are literally now about to realign. The personality triangle. This is also making me think of the therapeutic model of transactional analysis. Now, I'm just going to put my therapy hat on for a moment. If you're new to my channel, I worked as a psychotherapist for many, many, many years. Now, I'm going to be, my apologies to all transactional analysis therapists. This is going to be a very, very, very simplified version of what this is about. But it's a model where they think about your own personality internally in three areas. There's the parent, the adult, and the child. Now, the child is the child you once were. The parent sometimes indicates the inner critic. It's sort of the authority figures that you've embodied within you. So you might have an inner critic, or again, contracts that you held yourself to. The adult is the person you are now, who can steer the ship of now. And I feel this is coming through quite strongly. We have the moon. Some of you may actually have had quite a critical mother figure in your lives, actually, beautiful souls, who you loved dearly, but also who communicated, or again a figure. It feels more like a female figure of criticism. You know, you've got a mother and a child here. Violates the trust of your spiritual community, you know, shadow attributes. I feel that the turning point for you is also connected, and this is the harvest as well, is connected to you no longer being bound by an authority figure of a feminine nature, a female nature. It might not necessarily be a female person. It could be of like the, I would almost say, the misuse of female attributes, the misuse of maternal care, where care is given, support is given, but it's given with strings attached. I think there's an end to this. You may even have been, again, tied into something, strings attached. Now, whatever this, I don't know what this will mean in your personal circumstances, but it's completed. This contract, this commitment to something, it's completed. Now, there may be some sadness around it. For some of you, the sadness is actually because of, when you look back, the sort of the time that you've spent being embedded in that situation or that way of being, and maybe it limited your horizons. I think your horizons are to open. You are not going to worry anymore, maybe about what people think. You're not going to be so. You're coming into a time when you're going to be navigating life on an even playing field, a level playing field. That's the saying, isn't it? Where you draw into you, you attract to you people who support you, rather than people who don't. It's like that bit of your karmic contract is done. You are now in a place where people will come in who want to work with you fairly. You don't have to worry about these things anymore. And this is part of the pot of gold. You are now drawing into you communities, people, friends, family who support you. They hold the light with you. They honour your sensitivity, and they don't abuse it or take advantage of it. Wow, this is a very deep reading, but I think this is the pot of gold. This is over, done and dusted. It's now time for you to live a very different life. Wow, this is phenomenal. I'm going to draw a few more cards just to ask for a sneaky peek into the future, but I feel this is your reading pile one. And this is the great blessing. And my goodness me, this is fertility. I mean, it's kind of like the world's your oyster. Oh my goodness me, it's life-changing. You've got the Tower. Wow. This had to change, but this is the changing moment. You have the Tower, you have the Temperance. How interesting. And you have the Seven of Pentacles. Right, so fantastic. Sneaky peek into the future. Where's this going? This really is life-changing. This is like you can now rebuild and restructure a life that is now in balance. Because I don't think you've been in balance, because you've always been honouring this sort of deep-seated contract, even if it was unconscious within you. I think, look at the cactus flowering. So having lived within a defensive, almost prickly you, having to defend yourself literally sometimes, you're about to blossom. You can flower at last. And it does feel at last. I think you have waited. And I think you have really almost like done your time. But with that contract, you really, really, really did. And now it is your time to blossom, to flourish, with the right people coming to you, the right resources, people who honour you. This is particularly people orientated. People who honour you, who respect you, who value you. Yeah, this is beautiful. People who really, really, really genuinely value you. And I want to say, warts and all, there's a realism to this as well. Wow. Pile one, this is your reading. Beautiful souls, I'm really honoured to be connected with you all. Thank you so much for being here, for supporting the channel, all the things that you do, liking, sharing, subscribing. And if you want to make sure you never, ever miss a reading, do subscribe and press the little bell icon. Loads and loads of love. Pile 2, welcome to your reading. You have the beautiful oak and grandmother of love, granddaughter of life. This card speaks about you being an old soul. And there are many messages that come through with it, but particularly around forgiveness, letting go of things and moving forwards, not being afraid to do something differently. Very aligned with oak, that recognition that what we do in the present moment is creating the shape of our future. Now, obviously, we are now going to find out about the blessings that Lammas, or indeed Imbolc, depending on where you are, of fertility are coming to you. Let's draw runes for you first. Okay, so you have Hagelas. Ooh, the rune of disruption. Wow. You have Kano, the rune of openings. This is actually very exciting. You have the rune of fertility, Ingus, and you have the blank rune. Oh my goodness me. These are really powerful and really very special. Very special and fertile runes. I think there is disruption around you, but it's like disruption wants to be around you. Now, that disruption may be arriving in a way that, gosh, stuff is just happening and it's like, oh my goodness me, you're seeing it differently. It's like, how did that happen? Or how have I never seen that before? Or, wow, gosh, that's an eye-opener. It's this kind of energy. For some of you, it could also be like a gradual awakening where, you know, something sort of slowly dawns on you and you kind of think, you know, you've contemplated something, it pops back up again. You contemplate it again, and eventually you reach this point where you think, I can't really do this anymore. This just doesn't resonate with me, or it doesn't work with me. Now, whatever shape or form the disruption arrives in, and I do think there is definitely disruption around you, the energy of disruption, or basically, it's an invitation to change. Something needs to change. It's a window of opportunity. And I think you have to be an active participant in this. This is not one of those moments where something just arrives. You will need to be an active participant. You may need to actually sort of, I don't know, complete some things and exit some things or let some things go. Could even be a thinking pattern or something. It could be internal within you. It could be external events around you. Could be events that are mirroring something that indicate an internal change is needed. But fertility, you will need to be an active participant in creating the change. And this is literally an invitation to create that change. It's like you are the acorn. And just think what you can be. You know, the biggest, best version of you. The rune, the blank rune, here is really like a space of possibility. This is literally an invitation to change, but I suspect that some of the blessings may feel like, it could feel a bit like it's something that comes and you think it, afterwards you might think, well, that was a blessing in disguise. But immediately in the moment you might be thinking, oh, gosh, what do I do with this? But this is the kind of energy of your runes in alignment with this card and this tree. Let's check in. You have two cards. You have the Seeker. This is wonderful. Thirst for wisdom and truth, wherever they are. Shadow attribute, inability to commit to a path once found. And then we have a blank card. Okay, light attributes, shadow attributes. Okay, I'm not sure what this is saying, but I'm very fascinated by the fact that we have the blank rune. Now, I've not come across this card. I've used this deck for a long time, for years, and I've never come across this card before. I didn't know it existed. I think that there is a new pathway open to you, a space of possibility. that you didn't even realize would exist. The question is, can you grasp it? Do you recognize that the disruptions, or how you're feeling, this might be like, really listening to those niggles inside yourself, but having the courage to follow through. Can you recognize that whatever's going on is guiding you to a pathway of possibility? I feel like I want to put the blank rune in here. It's like that's where it ought to belong. And wow, this is genuinely a space of immense possibility. What else do we have? You have, gosh, the element of fire, passion, enthusiasm, creation. Wow. This really is an invitation to go for it in some new direction, to grasp a new direction, because it's what we do now, that point of power in the now, is creating the shape of our future. And indeed, that in turn honours generations yet to come, because when we do something differently, we are choosing to create a future pathway that recognises the need for change, not just for ourselves, but for future generations. Now I'm seeing these. Let's move this card along. I think we're going to need to move things along a little bit to create some space. Move those along. I think that's going to work. You have grief. This came out in pile 1. How interesting. If I remember rightly, pile 1 and pile 2 were the recommended ones by the universe. How interesting. So you have grief and bittersweet. Okay. Right. There is an ending, or something that a change genuinely is needed. I think you have woken up to something. Now, it may have been quite a difficult something to acknowledge and validate, because it's left a bit of a bittersweet taste in your mouth. However, it's really, really needed. If you hadn't experienced what you'd experienced, if you haven't seen what you've seen, you'd have remained on a pathway that was not going to be okay. There's an invitation for you to grasp with passion. Now remember, and I also want to say compassion. If you think about it, the word compassion, literally in French, it means with passion. There may be that forgiveness is needed. It may be that you are needing to forgive and move on from something. It could be forgiving yourself. It could be forgiving someone else. But something, I think, you've woken up to something. And I think there's a lot of sadness around it. It's left a really, in a way, you're moving into a space of possibility. It's very exciting. But I do think it is bittersweet. There's no question of it. You know the story of this card. Each of these cards has a story. And it's interesting because it actually does connect to grief. But the story of the bittersweet card is that there's a celebration. There's going to be a birth of a child. There's a pregnancy, which is interesting because this rune is like a pregnancy. It's a space of possibility. It's fertility. It's a blessing that is yet to come. So there is a celebration of something that can be born. Something new, something magical, something absolutely beautiful, fertile and gorgeous. But at the same time, this person has lost someone. Someone's passed over. So it's kind of like, it really is about the passing of things. Something dies, but something new is born. You know, there's a saying, isn't there, I think, when a new baby arrives at the time of a loss, it's as though one soul has departed and another arrives. And although that celebration is really genuine and real for the new, there is sadness at the person we've also lost. And so it's a really interesting energy. And that is really what's embodied in this card. And I think in your runes, this card can indicate something unexpected that happened. Something unexpected which is Hagelas again, an opening. It's created an opening. It's a pathway to possibility, to amazingness. But there is sadness at the loss of something, as well as this extraordinary Passion and enthusiasm for something new. As I said, there may be for some of you compassion is needed, forgiveness, perhaps of yourself or of another. Let's draw your tarot cards. There is a blessing within this situation. The situation itself is a blessing. It is a turning point. It's opening something new for you that wouldn't be there if this had happened, if this hadn't happened in some way. Let's check and see what else we're shown here. But this is definitely an invitation to embrace the new pathway. It really is. Well, okay. So the one card that just flew out and flipped over is the Seven of Swords. Look at this golden ball of light, fire energy, but it's bound up in swords. I think you've seen something. I think the disruption, like I said, it could be a slow awakening that happened over a period of time. But I think you have, just focusing your camera so you can see your cards. I think you've awoken to something. You've seen something. Something was kept below the surface, or it wasn't particularly visible to you before, and now it is. And I think it's been quite challenging for you. You have the Queen of Wands, but there is no going back. You can't not see what you've seen. It's changed you. It's transformed you. You have the Five of Wands. Now, it's very interesting. In the pile, I don't generally read cards in reverse, but I think I am in these. I did in pile one. I'll leave it in reverse and we'll think that through as we go. We've got the Five of Wands in reverse. We have the Death card. You have the Hierophant. You have the Ace of Cups in reverse. And you have the Five of Pentacles. And we have room for one more card. I'm actually going to draw that for you now. And then I will dive in. And I am actually going to leave these in reverse. This is the bittersweet. There's a new beginning with the Ace of Cups. It's a joyous new beginning, but it's upside down, because I don't think that it's one of those scenarios where there actually is a joyous new beginning, but you need to recognize it for what it is. Indeed, many of you may be, but there is this grieving as well. And I think there's been a bit of a bad apple. You've seen a bit of a bad apple. It only takes one bad apple. I think there's been somebody who has caused, maybe they're a bit competitive, a bit jealous. But I think somebody was, or maybe they still are, I don't know, underhanded. And I don't think you can go back because you've seen it. You can't pretend you haven't seen it. You have the Death card. So this is the rebirth. And the Hierophant. It was purposeful, because I think that we are astrologically at a time when everything is being brought to the surface, because we need anything and everything that we need to see in order to move and operate at a higher vibrational level. We're being shown it. It's being brought to the surface, and it is challenging. It is challenging, but you have the blessing is what you've seen in order to offer you a different pathway. Interesting, this came out in reverse as well, the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands is a card of, well, it's interesting because it's a card where we kind of, it's like if you've achieved something and you've become successful, it's a card where people envy you because of your success. There's an energy around this, I think, that is showing you, especially with the Five of Wands as well in reverse. I think this is showing you that there is a pathway, I think, in which you can be phenomenally successful. And I think that whatever you've seen of someone, I think it is rooted in jealousy and in envy and possibly an underhanded way of keeping people down. I don't think you need to be free of that kind of energy, because if you're tangled in it, you'll end up either keeping yourself down to accommodate somebody else's perspectives, or indeed that person or people or whatever you're connected to, they will be keeping you down because of their own agenda. There's been an acting out of somebody's agenda in a way that limited possibility through envy and jealousy and competitiveness. And it does only take one bad apple, unfortunately. But you are, and you may actually also, I need to say as well, I think you have come through this new awareness, this new awakening, feeling rather bruised. However, I also think you recognize what's going on, and hence the sadness, the bittersweetness. But you also, I think there is a very big passion and pull to follow a certain pathway that is open to you. And it's like, it's the two things don't mix. It's like staying in a particular situation that completely goes against everything that you're following in your pathway. It would be like, what if you're following a very ethical pathway, for example? And it's quite interesting. I relatively recently left a group that I had been a part of for quite a long time. It was a group I've learned a lot. I have a huge amount of gratitude. But actually, there was a resonance within that group that I also think was actually, interestingly enough, connected to envy and jealousy. But it didn't resonate. It didn't carry integrity. There were aspects of things that were going on that lacked integrity. And my pathway at this moment in time is about creating, my tarot community, my tarot course, my training, to bring together literally a community of light workers who work within an ethical framework. Ethics carry a very high vibration. My purpose, my calling at this moment in time, is to create this gigantic course that literally gives people this incredible solid foundation of working as a spiritual reader, integrating it into other professions if you so wish, but to do so from an ethical perspective. We have to be held in ethics, we have to be held in integrity, because that holds our vibration. So I couldn't remain in a situation, even though I loved the people there, I couldn't remain in a group where things were not upfront, not completely honest, where there was stuff going on. And I mean, I voice this because this is the kind of flavour that's coming through here. So beautiful souls, let's draw more cards and ask for a bit more information. The fertility is the awakening. The fertility is the pathway that you can follow. Thirst for wisdom and truth, wherever they are, being prepared to go there. You have the Two of Cups. What a joyous card. I mean, this is new love. If this connects to a person and you've been involved in either a friendship or indeed a love, a love interest, then the outcome is that you find new love. You find someone who literally mirrors you, who resonates at the same frequency. You have the Two of Wands. Interesting, it's come out in reverse. Now, I am reading reverse cards today. Now, this is all about passion. Again, there's equality. Two of Wands is a card very interesting, because this almost reminds me of the Two of Pentacles with the imagery of balance, but there's sacred geometry involved. For some of you, I think because it's in reverse, there's also there is an opportunity for you to genuinely reflect on where to go next, what choices are available to you. Part of the awakening is for you to move forwards consciously, and you need time to process this and do this, but it is a blessing. Oh my goodness me, isn't it? You have the Ace of Pentacles. This really is, in a very real, practical, physical way, within the physicality, for some of you in your working world, but even for the well-being of your health, your vitality, this is a new beginning. The Two of Wands in a traditional deck often depicts somebody coming out of a cave, and it often depicts Chiron, who is the wounded healer. Sitting in a cave, and it's sort of time to come out of your cave. There's a lot of passion, a lot of energy, compassion, fire energy. This is also about you learning to use your passion, your compassion in and choosing where to invest your energy. If there are regrets, if this is forgiveness of yourself, largely I feel as though it's forgiveness of someone else. But if you have acted in a way that was not as upfront as you wish you had been, there is opportunity for you to change that. If you had acted on the basis of, any kind of competitiveness, there's now time for you to reflect upon this, to heal and to transform and to change. It's interesting, at the time of doing this reading, we are entering a moon month, which is actually governed by the tree of holly, interestingly enough, which is very transformational. We can move, holly helps us to move between dimensions. The veil is thin. At the time of doing these readings, we're entering eclipse season. The veil is thin. We can shape-shift the energy in the present to create a different future. We are in the moon time of she who heals. There is healing energy. So this reading is absolutely in alignment with that space of possibility that really does transform the future for you. So whatever you are processing, these are your messages, and the purpose, my goodness me, the higher purpose. This really, really, really creates a very different shape to your future. Energetically, you are leaning into an energy where you heal and you invest in alignment with a very new pathway, because this is all about discernment and choosing a new pathway on the basis of something I think that has already happened, or indeed is happening, still happening. The processing, I think, is still happening around you. Pile 2, these readings are phenomenally deep and mind-blowing. Thank you so much for being here. Beautiful souls, thank you for everything that you do that supports the channel, the liking, sharing, subscribing. And if you want to make sure you never ever miss a reading, do please subscribe and press the little bell icon. Loads and loads and loads of love. Pile 3, welcome to your reading. You have this beautiful piece of, I don't know whether it is a spruce. It could well be a spruce tree, actually. This was actually a Christmas tree that we bought. So Christmas is about gifts. We bought it in a pot, or it was bought in a pot for my daughter, actually, and we planted it in the garden, and it is flourishing. So there's a real sense of something that can come, a gift, Christmas gift, that can really grow into something. Your first initiator card is very much about breaking free from restriction, sometimes breaking free from conditioning. Now, we're asking at this time of Lammas or Imbolc in the southern hemisphere, what great blessing of fertility is coming to you? What's this turning point in the Earth's calendar going to mean for you? Let's draw your runes first. You have the rune of Nathis, which is a rune of constraint, followed by Swallow. Swallow is a pathway of wholeness. You have also got the rune of Jira, harvest. Oh my goodness me, and fertility. This is super amazing. I think you are literally to break free from something you're being given. I'm not quite sure how this is arriving. We'll draw lots of cards, but you're being given an opportunity. Now, it could be a piece of knowledge, a piece of wisdom, a piece of guidance. One of the best ways to break free from conditioning is to become aware of it. If we notice that we are tangled into something, a pattern, then we can change it. That legacy doesn't have to sit with us forever. Noticing is the point of change. It's the first step towards change. It's like noticing is the seed of change. If you notice something and you become aware of it, then you can become aware of what triggers it or when it happens, and you can begin to work out what you're going to do differently. So there's a point of power. And I think you are to break free from something that, I'm going to say that's constrained you, held you back. It means that you can move forwards on a pathway of harvest, of wholeness. You might literally have been feeling as if you, I don't know, sort of almost feel a little bit incomplete. I don't know, let's draw more cards. Ooh, I feel this is showing up for you. You have Bina, understanding, silence, awareness, the divine feminine. Isn't that just beautiful? And the energy of Saturn. Now, Saturn is, as I'm sure many of you know, I'm sure many of you are interested in astrology, but Saturn brings an energy sometimes of quite tough life lessons. But Saturn, in a way, offers us both our, limitations, but also Saturn shows us our greatest potential. If we think of Saturn as bringing boundaries, there's a firmness, there's a solidness, there's a groundedness. This card does the same. She rides with wild spirit unbroken. If we are almost like omnipotent, we believe we can do anything, irrespective of anyone, then we can trample over other people and other people's feelings without realizing it. We just feel like we have the right to do anything and everything. It's almost like having an excessive sense of entitlement to the point of trampling on the entitlement of others or behaving disrespectfully, and that's not helpful. When we get the balance right, where we know that we do not have to be constrained by the views of others, but we don't trample on others either, then we're sitting in a very sort of what I would call healthy Saturn kind of place, a really good understanding. And it does beautifully connect to the divine feminine. In a more masculine energy, and we have, this is not about men and women. Masculine energy is very defined. We can go from A to B. We can be goal orientated, and this can be very helpful to motivate us. The feminine takes a more windy road, but is equally strong, rather like a river. If you think of a river flowing down, from a brook down into a stream, into a small river, into a bigger river. A river winds its way around. If an obstacle is in the way, it doesn't try to drill through it. It winds around it. It finds a different pathway. It honors that rock and goes around it. There's something here about honoring the pathways of others whilst owning your own capacity for free will and choice, your own wholeness, your own identity, but not at the expense of others. It's like getting that balance right. Let's find out more. Let's find out more. Wow, these are such deep readings. They really are. Victim. Okay. Now, prevents you from letting yourself be, this is the light attribute, prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. The shadow attributes, playing the victim for positive feedback in the form of pity, an inability to maintain personal boundaries. So we're in this realm of personal boundaries. This is where we're sitting. So the blessing, healer, is that this can be healed. I think there is a pattern or some element of conditioning that you can be healed from, and that's the blessing. The light attributes of the healer, passion to serve others by repairing the body, the mind and spirit, pathway to wholeness. Gosh, some of you may become healers and you may be helping people who literally have been victimized, helping them to move through and beyond this so they're not living in that trauma. Way to go. Ability to help transform pain into healing. The shadow attributes, taking advantage of those who need help, failing to care for oneself. So this is, now whether this is about you or your pathway is to actually help others, what we're seeing is an energy, and the blessing is to really enable healing from a position where I think there's been very real damage and very real hurt, but not to remain tangled in it. Not to live through the lens of that entanglement, because it restricts you. Stops you from bringing in the harvest, as it were. It stops you from being your biggest, best version of you. Or indeed, if it's somebody else and you're supporting someone else, you're their biggest, best version of themselves. Also, and this is really reminding me of it's a bit like, in therapy. And for those of you who are new to my channel, I was a psychotherapist for many years. I'm just going to focus the camera because I'm not sure if it's completely focused for you. Hopefully that's getting better. But I always used to say to my students, I did work for many, many years, and also tutored some students along the way as part of my journey, my therapeutic practice. I always used to say to my students, we can only go as deep with our clients as we have gone ourselves. So, you can't offer healing to others if you haven't really done that bit of healing on yourself. You simply can't. You've got to engage with it. Okay. I think we have 2 cards from this deck. We have growth. Gosh, this is so interesting, because this is the story of this card is about someone who was undervalued, wasn't really appreciated. Sort of, I think that's right, until after they'd gone. Let's see. And facade. Again, this is also a card where there's a pattern involved. The story of this card is of somebody who learned as a child to always look after everyone else, but never really owned their own sort of pathway of well-being. In many ways but they became a victim to themselves, because ultimately they replicated it. As an older person, this person actually met a child and learned to play again. They learned to regain their own inner child. Again, they addressed that long-term issue. So I feel that this is what we are being shown here. This is the energy of fertility in either Lammas or Imbolc, depending on where you are in the world. This is about I think largely this is about your wholeness, although it may also be about you helping others, but your ability to help others will be dependent upon your ability to help yourself. I think that's just, that's just there. It's inherent. So there is opportunity here through awareness, through understanding, to process a hurt or a pattern that has previously held you back and stopped you from sort of in a whole way being able to embrace the fullness and the best version of you. You have the Ace of Cups. Interesting, it's in reverse. Now, I don't, as you know, if you follow my readings, I don't generally read cards in reverse. But today I have been. It just seems to be that the energy has been primed for that. You have the Three of Pentacles. Okay. You have the King of Pentacles. Ah, okay. For many of you, this is something that you are going to take forwards. There may be something within you that you just need to kind of address in order to move to the next stage of your growth and development as a healer in your own right. You have the Ten of Cups. Oh my goodness me. This is super fab energy. That definitely came out in the upright position. Ace of Swords. You have the Five of Pentacles. Oh gosh. You have the Eight of Cups. And interestingly, you have the Sun in reverse. Okay. Okay. I think there is some kind of a pathway that is open to you, and it's right for you to follow it. Suelo literally does indicate the right pathway to follow. And something emotionally needs to be healed, something that, because it has been blocking you. And I think this does lead potentially to a pathway of significant abundance. Now, this could also be showing us that this is about your health, but let's call it your health, your wealth. Your health, wealth, your everything on the physical plane is being affected by what is going on deep within you emotionally. And there is an opportunity around you through awareness and understanding, and possibly with the help of others, to actually be able to embrace a pathway of healing that really, it really does create a great clarity, a peace of mind, clarity of mind. It's like healing an area of you that has been very bruised, an area where something felt very broken. Even in this bridge, can you see that there is some of the wood is missing? It's like there's a pathway to follow, but this would be like repairing putting the pieces of wood here so that this is repaired and you can walk forwards. I feel with the Sun in reverse, this is not in any way negative. I think it is simply highlighting, my beautiful souls, that for you to really flourish, a healing is needed first. And I think the energy of Lammas is going to create an opportunity for you to do that. I think we need to draw cards and ask about how that opportunity arises for you. Okay, so let's check in and ask, how does the opportunity to heal arise for my pile threes? What kind of circumstances are we looking at? Is it just literally the energy is there? Is that it? Or is there more? You have the Four of Wands. Again, that came out in reverse. You have the Six of Swords. And you have the Hermit. I think with the Hermit, it may be that a mentor arrives to assist you. This can really indicate, it could be a new guide, or so it could be somebody in the physical world, or it could actually be a new guide arriving. But I think you're being guided to see the pathway that you follow. Now, the Four of Wands is a very, very interesting energy in this position. The Four of Wands is a card of commitment, of celebration. And I am reading, cards in reverse in these readings, which I don't generally do. It's unusual, but I was really drawn to do so. I think in reverse, it's showing us that the celebration of who you can be, the fullness of who you can be, your commitment to your pathway is currently being blocked by something. I do think it is a legacy or an element of conditioning, or this is or a belief within you, a limiting belief. And I think somebody, and this could be a spirit guide, or indeed in the human world, is arriving to help to guide you through this. Now, the card of growth speaks about also the story of this card. Speaks about daring to be different, daring to be yourself. And I think that is woven into this. It's almost as though I think you are not fully able to own who you really are because of some kind of perception conditioning. But I do see someone coming in to assist you in the Hermit. Let's follow this through, pile three, see what else we're shown. See this one. You've got the Four of Swords. It's come out in reverse. Now the Four of Swords, it's interesting, two fours both in reverse. Now this is a card of celebration. This is a card of meditation. Stillness. So celebration is being limited or blocked. Your commitment is being blocked. Your ability to follow your true pathway, to fulfill the best version of you. I think with the Four of Swords, I think this is showing us that you already know what this is. And thank you, dear ones. If you don't, I'm not sure how to respond to that, but I feel as though there's like a mirror, a shard of glass here. I think you already know what the pattern is. I think you've already identified it. I think that's what we're seeing. If that isn't resonating with you, either may not be quite the right reading for you, but I feel you already know what the pattern is. You've already identified it. And what is happening now is that the energy is primed to help you to shift it and to move away from it. To really, really move beyond it. I do think you already know. And circumstances are orchestrating to help you, and indeed people or a guide, someone is coming in to assist you in that. Okay, you have Three of Cups. That's interesting. It's hard. I'm not quite sure quite how which way as it flew out, it came out. The Three of Cups is a card of people, of celebration, of a new beginning, of a turning point in matters of the heart. Do you know, whichever way it came out, this really is, I think, highlighting, I think 3 steps actually, in the process. It's making me think about the steps of the first thing we do when we see something is that the first point of change is that we notice it. That's the first step. Then we begin to notice when we are doing it again, we're acting it out, because we do. We're all on, we're talking about stuff that is on autopilot a lot of the time. And this is human. I voice no criticism in this. There's no, we do stuff on autopilot. That's how life is. It's how we're built. But I am seeing here with the Three of Cups, 3 steps. It's like the first step is to notice it. The second step is then because you're aware of it. And I think you are aware of it. The next step is to notice, what presses your buttons? When does it happen? And not to judge yourself or criticize yourself, but just to notice. Because if you notice when it begins to happen, you can then, set out to define, to be aware of it in a bigger way, and notice what kind of situations press your button and take steps accordingly to prevent it from happening again. And of course, the third step is to actually create a different way of approaching it. I think there will be a mentor. It could be a therapist for some of you, but there will be somebody who, in a very pragmatic, practical way, I think is going to show up. And as I said, if it's a new guide, then you will be somebody who sees your guides clearly, and they become very visible to you, show you what you need to do and how you need to do it. But there are steps to changing a pattern, and this is the huge blessing, because with this changed, you are on a pathway to wholeness. You're on a pathway to fertility. You're on a pathway to harvest, kind of like the world's your oyster. And so this is pretty super amazing. As I said, some of you may well become a healer in your own right. Wow. Let's get a sneaky peek into the future, knowing that this work is done. You have the 10 of Wands and the 2 of Pentacles. Again, the 2 is showing up in reverse. It's interesting. The 10 of Wands, in its high vibrational essence, tells us that we need to break free from something that is restricting us. The 2 of Pentacles is a card of balance, of harvest, again, of fertility. Again, but look at the infinity symbol here. That's what we're really being shown here. How fascinating. And if I put this in the upright position, we can see the Venus star. I feel that life can come back into balance. Imbalances can be healed. That's what I feel we're being shown here. Imbalances can be healed. Doing things out of obligation or duty can be healed. It's like you can transform these. You also have the 9 of Pentacles, which is a card of great satisfaction. And then you have the Emperor. Interesting. All of these things, I feel we're being shown. These cards are kind of basically what isn't working. And the Emperor is of you owning your own sovereignty, taking charge, but in the most incredible way. And can you see, look at the tree that this Emperor is sitting in. Look at that, would you? Isn't that mind-blowing? Absolutely amazing with the pine cones here. Interesting, this tree has literally just this year grown its first 2 pine cones in its entire life. It's reached a point of being large enough, big enough to be able to do that, to start to bring in a harvest. I feel that at the moment, I almost feel this is also really honouring your personal free will and choice, because we all have free will and choice. And it is an invitation to break free from restriction, because I think it's to bring yourself back into balance, to have, with the 9 of Pentacles, to have that sense of self-satisfaction, of real personal gain, but in a realistic sort of Saturn way, not an omnipotent way, but a realistic, beautiful Saturn, healthy kind of, really, really owning what you can have in a really balanced, healthy way. This really is stepping up into the biggest, best version of you, processing something that is currently holding you back. But I do think you are aware of it. And I do think you will be assisted specifically by someone. But this is all leading to your own personal sovereignty and empowerment. in a very balanced way, not doing things out of obligation or guilt, not doing things for personal gain, but for a balance of what is right for you, but also what is right for others. It's almost like this recognition of your interconnectedness with all of life. Pretty powerful, I've got to say. Well, very powerful. I mean, this is very transformational in every possible way and in the best possible way. Pile 3, I'm honestly blown away by these readings this week. I really, really, really am. Beautiful souls, thank you so much for being here, for your love, for your light, for all the things you do that support the channel, for liking, sharing, subscribing. And if you want to make sure that you never miss a reading, do press subscribe and hit the little bell icon, and hopefully everything I post will come into your stream. Beautiful souls, I'm sending you all the love in the world.